Welcome back to Victorians Against Tyranny, part 2 of how to challenge a fine. In this video, we'll be addressing Fines Victoria's response to my notice of objection letter. We'll also be talking about how Fines Victoria hide their true identity, and we'll cover sending a notice of default letter. Let's start with who they really are. So, Fines Victoria do not want you to know they are a private corporation. They want you to think they're part of the government and that the government's some kind of unquestionable authority and people must do as they say at all times. They do this by hiding their trading name and instead list what's called an entity name. So all businesses have an Australian business number or ABN. If you have a look at this form, this is from a site called ausbiz.net. It was really hard to find the info on this particular companies, and this was the only site I could find it. So at the top it states details for ABN number 791-1299-1054. Further down we see main name and name. So the name is 2XS Motorcycles Pty Ltd. If we look further down to business names, we can see Fines Victoria from 29th of April 2020 to current. So 2XS Motorcycles Pty Ltd and Fines Victoria share the same ABN number, which means they're the same company. So if we get on the ABN website, we see the exact ABN as the previous site. The entity name is 2XS Motorcycles Pty Ltd. So what do motorcycles and fines collecting agencies have in common? Absolutely nothing. So this is exactly the same company. This is the clever deception to throw you off track. Because if you try and find an ABN number for Fines Victoria, you won't find it. And who's going to think of looking for 2XS motorcycles? You know, it's very, very clever. So as another point of interest, if we look at the historical details on the bottom, we see with the same ABN number, there was a business once listed and it was called Fiddy Militia from 2005 to October 2011. That's another strange name for a fines collecting agency. If we go back to 2XS Motorcycles ABN, then there's no business name listed at all. So these guys have gone to an extreme length to hide their name, the name Fines Victoria. And this is how it works, folks. They want to keep you blind, ignorant and in fear. And note how they use the Victoria Police as their muscle. On their letter, they use Victoria Police's logo. But really, that's the only police involvement in there. You know, when you respond, you don't respond to Victoria Police, you respond to them. But that's a form of intimidation. So I trust you can start to see the picture of how these corporations masquerading as departments of justice all scratch each other's backs to make money. Now let's take a look at the response from 2XS Motorcycles, aka Fines Victoria. So the notice of objection was sent asking them to prove their claims within 28 days. The time has passed and this was their response. Thank you for your correspondence received 6th of December 2021, addressed to Fines Victoria. Fines Victoria acts on behalf of the Victorian Government and is a single point of contact for the public to pay or deal with their unpaid fines. The longer the fine goes unpaid, the more serious it becomes, attracting additional fees and consequences. The Infringement Acts 2006 and Fines Reform Act 2014 provide a legal framework for fines in Victoria and can be accessed at this address here. Fines Victoria records you have 5 outstanding matters, a total of $2,505.20 as of the 8th of December. Now that's interesting because I am currently only dealing with 4 fines and they're talking about 5 outstanding matters. So I assume the 5th one is when I got arrested at a Cup Day protest, sent all this information and once again they could not and did not prove their claim. So it's good this has come in because it gives you guys a chance to see you know, the real life scenario. Now, if I get called into appearing in court, I've got all the documentation here that they failed to prove their claims. So I'm not worried about that. All right, so let's continue. We understand some customers will face financial hardship as a result of the coronavirus pandemic and its health and economic impacts. If you are experiencing hardship and finding it difficult to pay, there are options to help you manage your fine. How nice of them. Fines Victoria website provides information regarding payment methods such as paying by phone, mail or BPay. You can also apply for the extension of time to pay, a pay arrangement or enforcement review. Blah, 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 blah. They say everything, but the only thing they haven't done is proven their claims. They did, however, send a nice penalty reminder notice with an additional fee. And once again, more intimidation and threats. The letter or the notice of default. So remember in the first video, we covered that if they fail to prove their claims, then by default, they've accepted your terms and conditions. The only way that they can't enter into this agreement with you is by supplying a sworn affidavit and its documents. So after 28 days from your notice of objection letter sent to them, a default notice letter witnessed by a Justice of the Peace is sent. This letter states that Fines Victoria have failed to prove their claims within the specified time period and that they have defaulted in respect of their claim and have admitted and agreed to the terms of the objection tendered. So this is the default notice. This is the template which you, once again, fill in your own details. Just pause the video, take your time and have a read of this, and you'll see at the bottom it's signed by a Justice of the Peace and it's got his stamp on it. Now make sure when you send these letters, you send it via registered mail. And that means that when they receive your letter, they need to sign for it. So you've got proof that they actually did receive it. And once again, it's important to remember this is a billion-dollar industry and these guys will play hardball. They want that money. They don't want to lose any money. And so expect, the intimidation, expect the ridiculous, expect all the threats because that's the way they operate. So my letter of default's been sent. Tune in next time for part 3, which will be private settlement. Hope this has helped and I'll catch you again. Thanks guys, bye.